Welcome everyone to tonight's show. Tonight we have a very special guest. We'd like to welcome Sarah Palin.
Thank you, Larry. You are too kind. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you and glad to have you, Sarah. So tonight we are going to be talking about tariffs and the prisoner's dilemma. Would you mind telling us a little bit about these two topics?
I'd love to. A tariff is defined as a government tax on imports or exports, usually either to raise revenue or to protect domestic firms from foreign import competition. A tariff may also be designed to correct an imbalance of payments.
Wow, you are so smart. And the prisoner's dilemma?
A prisoner's dilemma is defined as a fundamental problem in game theory that demonstrates why two people might not cooperate even if it is in both their best interests to do so.
Very good. Now, could you give us an example of each?
I can give you an example of both of them in one. I will use the country Russia in my example because I can see it from my house.
Sure. Anyways, please go on.
Let's say Bill Clinton, who I sometimes call McLovin, and I are in a canoe paddling from my home in Alaska to Russia with wine and cheese to be traded. As we paddle, McLovin begins to get tired and stops paddling, telling me to continue.
Yeah, that sounds like Bill.
I know, right? There is no way that I am going to paddle if he is not paddling. It is in my self-interest to conserve energy. So we both stop and are left to the will of the tide and currents of the ocean.
I wouldn't paddle either. I would have thrown him in the water to teach him a lesson.
Okay then. Anyways, in this prisoner's dilemma, we both want to act out of our own self-interest. We both want to conserve as much energy as possible.
Bill is a selfish jerk.
True that. So what ends up happening is, we're sitting in the middle of the Pacific Ocean waiting to get eaten by killer whales.
That sounds fun. I like to hunt killer whales.
They are endangered, Larry. That is bad. So McLovin and I, since we were both not willing to give up our energy to get to land, are stuck for days in the ocean. We then remembered that we both needed to get to Russia as soon as possible, because we needed to trade our goods and get home for snack time.
Holy cow.
Yes. So we both decide that the best thing to do would be to collude with one another and start rowing. To prevent each other from stopping, McLovin promises me a Siberian tiger coat, and I promise him a Russian bride.
A Russian bride. Sounds fabulous. What happened when you got there?
Upon arriving, we were informed that a tariff had been levied against foreign exports of wine and cheese. We were pissed. How was I supposed to afford that Russian bride for McLovin now? The tariff imposed a tax on our goods which we had to pay before selling them to the Russians.
Bill must have been ticked too, right?
Yeah, he was. He said that he was going to go home with his bride and me, and would go straight to his homeboy Barack Obama to tell him what happened. I assume a tariff war will ensue, this being a prisoner's dilemma in and of itself.
Wow. That was great. Well, it was good having you, Sarah.
Thanks so much, Larry. Goodbye, everyone. And Alaska is the bomb. Peace.